Seeking to transform the mandate of the Pan-African Parliament has received the backing of the African Union as its chairperson, Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, attended the opening session, her first ever visit to the Pan-African Parliament since taking over office. It is a nod that comes also from a former member of this Continental Assembly, now elected head of state, Ghanaian President John Dramani Mahama, who was the guest of honor at the opening of this second ordinary session.
My view is that we should support it. We are also talking about synchronizing and increasing trade. If we do that, there are certain things that we'll have to deal with, harmonize our regulations and so on.
This is an exciting time to be in Africa, and it's an exciting time to be an African. Mr. Speaker, now is the time for the Pan-African Parliament to also make its own transition from that of a deliberative body to that of a legislative one. Now is the time for the Pan-African Parliament to solidify the energy of solidarity and hope that is sweeping across our continent. The African Union must hasten its evolution into a union of people and not merely a union of governments.
And while admitting it would take some readjustments towards integration, the Pan-African Parliament has its work cut out. Changes would also be felt in the representation of member states who have predominantly been nominated by their governments, 5 per country, to sit in the Continental Assembly.
The other issue, of course, is the election of members. Because at the moment, members are elected by their parliaments from within the members of the parliament. But the next step would be for them to be elected.
The Pan-African Parliament can contribute to that process by organizing the elections of its members through universal adult suffrage in our member countries. I have been a fervent advocate of the House being granted full legislative powers because the challenges that face our nations are increasingly becoming ones that have no regard for national boundaries.
Given clearly defined legislative and oversight functions, the Pan-African Parliament does not in any way impugn or reduce the issue of sovereignty of member states or their national parliaments. We clearly have areas where national parliaments are unable to clearly provide the legislative framework.
Kenyan MPs were not represented at this opening session as the rules hold that when a country has elections, her members cease to be valid in the August House until new ones are nominated to sit in it after elections, and thus the previous members' seats remained empty. Now, from its inception back in March 2004, the role of this Pan-African Parliament has been advisory and consultative. However, an amended protocol has been presented after an evaluation of what its mandate should be now, hoping that it will have legislative and oversight powers. Now, this amended protocol, after its presentation, has been discussed by executives and heads of states, and further consultations have been called for. And as such, the amended protocol has been deferred to January next year during the next ordinary session. Jackie Maribe, Citizen TV in Johannesburg, South Africa.